Welcome to NBA Jam!
We've got Trae Young, Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Juancho Gomez, Adam Sandler. What? It's all on this review of Hustle today on the SuperCaZt.
Welcome back to the SuperCaZt, everybody. I am the Superfosh, the man who put the super in SuperCaZt, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy and co-host,
Steve Z, the man who put the Z in SuperCaZt.
And man, I am really excited about this episode. We are talking about not a completely well-known movie. It's a Netflix film, but one I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on. Hustle. Starring Adam Sandler, but this is not your typical Adam Sandler type film. This is a really interesting movie that I think a lot of people should definitely check out, for sure. And we're going to talk about it here in a bit, but just want to let everybody know that this is a new day for the SuperCaZt. We have really started hitting hard on our YouTube channel, so we want you guys to subscribe and to follow us on that. We do put all our episodes on the YouTube channel, including this one, when we get done editing and all that. And we have our other episodes, so just go to YouTube and we will put the link into the description of this thing here on our Spotify and on our socials. But please go to our YouTube channel. We have all our episodes on there, and would love to see you guys on there and comment. Let us know if you have any suggestions for future videos, that sort of thing. But also, we do have a Twitter, at SuperCaZt with the Z, and we do have a Facebook group, SuperCaZt. So you can comment on there, follow us on that. We do put stuff on there, but we're going to try to put some YouTube exclusive content together at some point. So that's why we really would love for you guys to follow us and share all our stuff, because we're really excited about what's to come with the SuperCaZt and our YouTube channel. And man, I'm just so excited to get that going.
Definitely, and yeah, we're everywhere.
We are everywhere, and we are coming at you.
Please comment, like, subscribe, all that's good stuff. We want some
sir.
Good interaction. That's what gets us going. We want to hear what people think.
Right.
Any recommendations of future episodes, or just things that are on your mind. If you want to come after me for my take on Top Gun, go for it.
Oh, be nice, everybody. We're all family here. We're all nice. So today we're going to talk about a movie that didn't come out in theaters, but was actually on Netflix. And
It was
Netflix
limited run in theaters.
That's true.
Yeah, but mainly Netflix exclusive.
And Netflix has made some good films. And I stumbled on this, I don't know, a couple months back, I guess now. And of course, Steve and I grew up on Adam Sandler, but we grew up on the, Billy Madison, The Waterboy, that sort of thing.
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
But later in his career, Adam Sandler's made some good, just straight drama movies, like Uncut Gems was really good. Punch Drunk Love was pretty good. And a couple other things like that. So when I saw this movie, I saw the preview and saw that Mr. Sandler was playing basketball scout for the Sixers. And so I was like, I saw the preview and I was like, check it out. I don't think I even told you about it. I think I waited till I watched the film and just to see, because I was like, if I don't like it, I'm not gonna waste Steve's time. He's not gonna want to sit through it if I don't like it. So I did, and yeah, I really liked the film. It's definitely a drama. Like, it's not a goofy Adam Sandler movie. There are some funny parts, but it's not Adam Sandler making funny noises and voices and that kind of thing. So stars Queen Latifah as his wife, which I did not know until I watched the film, and she was fantastic. So really enjoyed the film as just a kind of a regular basketball fan, but my buddy here, who is a basketball junkie, and I mean that in all the nice way, I was like, I think he'll dig it. I think he'll at least admire it for what it's trying to do. So I was like, hey Steve, check out Hustle. Alright, so he did. And he liked it. And we want to do an episode on it, so that's what we're doing here, man. So let's get started. This is sort of going to be sort of like an interview, because like I said, I really feel like you're the expert basketball fan here. So
yeah, let me go over my credentials.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, basketball has been something I've always loved.
Yes.
Watched it growing up a lot and played it briefly. I mean, I was a bit more of a track guy than a basketball guy, but definitely love it. I love to study the game, and in college I got bigger into the NBA, and that's becomes something I'm really into. And definitely want to go ahead and tell you my bias. I'm a diehard Celtics fan, which is right now is a good time to be a diehard Celtics fan, and even appeared on a YouTube channel briefly during the season. I'll probably be back on their next season called Celtics Corner. Shout out to those guys.
Definitely.
And so that's where I'm coming from. So yeah, when I hear about an Adam Sandler NBA movie, I'm a bit skeptical because we know Adam Sandler's track record. Yes, he has a few good dramatic roles in there, but this is a guy that also did The Ridiculous Six and Jack and Jill.
Yeah, so you know,
he's got some questionable stuff in there. So I sit down and watch this, and I'm immediately impressed. The first montage, if you will, during the opening credits, pulled me in. I got into this guy. I really liked the character, and just was on for the ride. I will get to some things later that I didn't totally agree with, and some parts that I thought were very laughable unintentionally. But we'll get into that. So now you know where I'm coming from.
Also, your dad was a basketball coach.
Yeah, that too.
Have you told him about this film?
I have not.
Have you guys talked about it?
No.
Okay.
He might not like it. He's not as big of an NBA fan.
That's true.
But I guess I should say this, though, before we get going. Even if you're not an NBA fan, you could get a lot out of this movie. It's got your classic underdog, triumph, all that stuff. We like to see in sports movies. So you don't have to be a huge NBA fan.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who these players are, guess what? Just watch the credits at the end.
Yep.
They tell you.
So, as we said, this movie does star Adam Sandler as Stanley Sugarman, who is, of course, a NBA scout. Yeah, and he finds this player, and let's see, what country was it? Spain, and you know, I didn't know Spain was big on basketball at that.
Yeah, well, they're pretty big. They've had usually if you look at the silver medalists in the Olympics, it's going to be Spain. That's where the Gasol brothers were. Leandro Barbarossa. There's been some good players from Spain.
And we'll definitely get to everybody in this film, but let's just go ahead and talk about Adam Sandler, because as we said, we grew up on the crazy, funny, goofy Adam Sandler. But that's not what you get in this film. You get a much older, much more mellower, if that's a word, sort of performance. He's a dad, he's a husband, and he's a scout, and I think he plays this character really interestingly, because it's sort of like, I think he's kind of just been sort of humming it for a while at the beginning of this film, and nothing's really going on for him, and then he finds this guy and everything starts to turn. So talk about Adam Sandler's performance as an actor, not necessarily as the scout, but just as the actor, and how he portrays this role. What impressed you about Mr. Sandler's performance in this film?
I think he's an everyman of sorts. I think he's definitely seems like somebody you could walk up to and approach and talk to.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that much going for him. He's not totally handsome. He's not like got all the best lines. Yeah, he's got some good lines and all that stuff. But he seems very genuine, and I really got behind him because he's a great dad. And he's a great husband. I thought that was really cool to see that part of his life.
Yes.
I love that scene at the beginning when he comes home from the long grind. And I just feel for this guy. He's been out staying in all these hotels, doing all this scouting all over the world.
Yeah.
And nobody really appreciates him other than the owner at the time, played by Robert Duvall. He comes home and he connects with his daughter over Evil Dead. And I thought that was really cool because I think a lot of parents in that situation would do what his wife T was saying, just like, you gotta hit the books, don't go watch this movie. But he realizes that if your kid has an interest, you gotta like get behind that. And I really like that aspect of the film. Is he realizes his daughter's big into filmmaking, wants to go to film school. And he's like, you're my person. You come and you shoot this video for me. And really cool because it gets them to bond over that. I just really like that aspect of him. And I said it's an underdog story. And yeah, Bo Cruz is an underdog, but I think he's also, I think that's what makes it neat about it, is the two fates are intertwined. This guy, he's had it rough. Freak accident, he made some mistakes, but the dude he could have been a national champion. He could have been in the NBA possibly, but instead he ends up living away from his family, scouting, probably doesn't get paid that well. Then he gets this shot at being an assistant coach, and then sure enough the owner dies, and the owner gets replaced by the jackass of a son. And he doesn't like Sugarman, so once again he's out there again. So I just really feel for him through the whole movie. I want to see him succeed. So I love his performance.
And I think that's what makes his relationship with the player that much more believable too, because he can relate to the player. He can be like, hey man, I've had it rough, I understand, I believe in you. I believe in you and I believe in us, and I can get you to where you want to go. But also, I do love the relationship with the daughter and how supportive. But the thing that really surprised me was how great Adam Sandler and Queen Latifah played husband and wife. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing until I watched the film. And as soon as I got over the shock of the casting, because again I wasn't expecting it, it just really worked. Like, it really worked. You believed that they were husband and wife, and that's a credit to both the writing, Adam, and Queen Latifah, I think.
Yeah, and they're a good couple. They really support each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a part where she does get angry with him, obviously, when he quits the Sixers, and she finds out that you're paying for Bo to be here and all that stuff. But then she's like, well, I guess I'm going to support you. I'm going to make Bo some food and tell him to stop watching porn. So it's a pretty good scene.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is some comedic parts in here. I think she does the comedy really well. And I think Adam, he can obviously switch that on and off. And it's not your over-the-top Little Nicky type stuff.
No.
It's more like, this is the funny guy that that has some good quips and can say some good stuff at times.
Yeah. So, really props to Queen Latifah and Adam Sandler's performance as husband and wife. But then we get into, of course, the actor that played Bo Cruz. And I cannot say his name, so I'm going to ask for help from you, buddy.
Juancho. Yeah, this is Juancho Hernan Gomez. So, I got to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, let's go, man.
Right.
Just go ahead.
So, this is the part I said that was unintentionally funny for me when I first started watching it.
Yeah.
Because here's the setup. So, there's this playground game going on.
Right.
Stanley was going to go just watch some, he was really going to go shoot hoops, and he sees all these people watching this guy play. And he's playing in boots. Right. And it turns out that's Juancho out there. And I just died laughing, especially whenever he's like, this kid is a 1 in a million shot. He's going to be a top 10 player in the league. And I know you're not supposed to see the actor. You're not supposed to see the player. But for me, I couldn't do that at first. I eventually turned around on it. But
I got you.
This guy, I'm just going to say, this guy was he was a big thing of Celtics life last year. We got him in the off season, and we all thought he was going to be something because he showed some promise. He's a stretch 4. He can shoot the 3. He can play some. We thought he could play defense. It turns out he can't. But we were pretty excited about the signing. It was like, this guy's going to boost our bench. He's going to be a good guy to throw in there. And guess what?
What?
Ime never played him because he can't play defense. He'd go out there, he'd put up like a -10 in like 2 minutes of play, and they're like, okay, we got to get rid of this guy. So Juancho ended up getting shipped out. I don't even remember I think it's just a trade exception. We just got some cash for him. So
yeah.
That's what I thought of when I saw this. And I don't know, that it took me a while to get over that, but once I did, and the second time I didn't bother me at all because I watched this movie twice.
Yeah.
But just Juancho, just because he was such a meme for the Celtics people last year, it was just hard to get over that he's going to be this top 10 player.
I remember when you watched this film the first time, you texted me and you were like, "Oh, this guy," and I was like, "Oh no." Just see that guy's gonna ruin the movie for him. I was just hoping you could get past that, and luckily you did.
I did, and I thought I heard the story about how he got the part. It's pretty cool. He's never acted before. Somebody just told him because it's during the COVID lockdown is whenever they did a lot of this stuff for this movie, and at that point the league shut down. So he's like, I don't know. I guess we'll try it out. So he made like a video, sent it in. They're like, yeah, you would like it, and then he came in red with the part with Adam and all that stuff. I think for a first-time actor, he does okay because most basketball players, this is not their thing. But I definitely, in certain scenes, I feel him. Especially there's one scene where he cries, and I'm like, that's not an easy thing for a person to do, is to cry on screen.
No, it's not.
And do that stuff. So I think he does a good job. And like I said, once I got over this Juancho out there, it's good. And I'm glad they actually picked a real player to play the thing, because if you've ever watched some of these basketball movies and they have some actors out there that can't really do it, so it was nice seeing him, and he kind of fits the bill for what people are looking for now, like a tall guy with long wingspan that can do it all. So it's pretty believable.
So do you think being in this movie helps him or hurts him in his career? What you think?
I mean, more people know who he is because everybody that saw this movie had to go look him up. They're like, okay, he plays for the Utah Jazz because that's where he is now, and that should help him. I'm hoping that, I mean, I'm not a Juancho hater. I'm hoping that he figures out the parts in his game that made Ime not like him, and Brad say, "See ya, buddy." Hopefully he does turn his career around. Well,
he's the guy that they kind of, and he's sort of the whole thing about this film. Like, Adam Sandler is in this film, and he's definitely the lead, but it's all about Bo Cruz. And as a person that's just a fan, I really bought his performance as a player. Obviously, he is a player, so that's not that much of a stretch. But I really thought that he was a good fit for this film. I thought he was a good fit for Adam. I thought him and Adam had some good chemistry. We talked about Queen Latifah and Adam, but I think these two guys also have to work as a team. Definitely a different situation and different circumstances, but
I love the stuff with the room service and like ordered all those Phillies, like took one bite out of them. I kind of could fight.
You
just took one bite.
I thought their performances together was really, really good. So
it's pretty good because they take on a bunch of different like facets. Like sometimes Adam he's like the coach that's pushing him, and sometimes he's his friend. Sometimes he's the guy that's like consoling him. He's like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna have another shot at this. And then there's sometimes where they're both like not really honest with each other, and I think that creates some of the conflict in the film.
So we go on to some other performances. Ben Foster as Vince Merrick. What'd you think?
I like this actor. He's actually in a movie that we reviewed earlier this year. He was in 3:10 to Yuma.
That's right.
Charlie. Because I couldn't place him. I'm like, I've seen this guy in a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
He's good, and I think he's actually sort of archetype for some of these owners. Because some of them think they know better than their coaches and their staff and all that stuff, and they just do stupid things. He actually reminded me of I thought he was an owner originally, but he was a GM, and he was like the son of another guy, but he ended up getting fired from the Sixers because his wife had created all the burner accounts on Twitter, and they were like saying bad stuff about the players and all that. So that's this actually reminded me of that a little bit, because I was like, Sixers, terrible son. But yeah, he's a guy you want to hate just because we're sympathize with Stanley, and this
Right.
guy just does not like Stanley for
Right.
some reason because he thinks he knows better and he doesn't.
So, Anthony Edwards as Kermit White. I thought he had a pretty good performance.
Oh yeah, this is. I think he's actually going to probably act in other
Sure.
things. But it was funny when I was first hearing about this movie. I don't know why I did not think of Ant Edwards, the basketball player that's awesome right now.
Yeah.
I was thinking Anthony Edwards from Top Gun.
Yeah. Yes, same
And
here.
I'm like, why is Goose in the film?
Yeah,
Everybody's
really.
like, yeah, he plays awesome. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Goose he can ball? I was like, oh, it's Ant Edwards as Kermit. Okay, I get it. And he's pretty good. I think he's probably the best part of the film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's just that antagonist, the foil. He can get under Bo's skin, and he's probably
Yeah.
kind of the people that you run into when you are trying to do something like this, trying to ascend in the game. A lot of big into trash talk. Yeah, so I thought it was a great performance, in my opinion.
So you got Kenny the Jet Smith as Leon, and I'm not the biggest Kenny the Jet Smith fan as an outsider, but what did you think of Leon in the film?
Yeah, this is an eye roll for me, really.
Good, I'm glad to hear
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I like Kenny okay.
He's
I like-
alright.
I like that crew that they have, but I didn't understand why. Like, okay, so he's a real person in this universe,
Yeah.
but Barkley and Shaq are themselves. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I like what he's going for. I mean, you definitely have to have that hotshot agent in the
Right.
script. I
Right.
probably would have got a different actor though. That was not Kenny the Jet, just because I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say he does a bad job. I'm just like, I can't look past. Unlike I did with Wancho eventually and with Adam Sandler, I can't look past the actor in this case. I'm just like, yeah, that's Kenny.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, like I said, you need that character, and I think he was good. I think even though he did kind of leave Stanley high and dry at that one point, he was like, "Oh, I can't get him in. I'm sorry. I said I could, but couldn't."
Yeah.
But he does eventually come through in the clutch and gets him into that sort of showcase so Bo can prove himself.
Okay, so there's a lot of NBA cameos. Any of them stand out for you?
I guess the Dr. J one, just because he's in there twice. He's at the funeral, and then he comes back at the. He actually is the one that helps create Bo Cruz by helping him. It's like, oh, this guy, I'm gonna like basically marketing for him. So I thought I liked that one a lot. Even though I'm not a Sixers fan, and that was another thing I had to get past watching this movie. Like, I wish they'd stop talking about the stupid Sixers.
I thought about that watching this.
It's like they're acting like this is a great team, and they haven't been out of the second round in decades. But
yeah, they used to be great, and they were great, back in the early 2000s, but not for a while.
yeah, but I like obviously I like the Brad Stevens cameo, even though I don't know why I like the Chris Middleton one. Just seeing him come in and be at the combine, but I think the best ones are the ones in the final game. Like just seeing Trae Young out there playing basketball, it's really fun.
So we talked about your basketball credentials, but at one point you had thought about being a film director. So I want to ask you about the director of this film, Jeremiah Zager, who directed this film. Obviously, this is a very interesting shot film, so I want to get your thoughts on it. It's sort of kind of docu-style kind of thing. What do you think about how the film was shot and directed and that sort of thing?
So it's the kind of movie that I think a few years ago I never would have gotten into, just because it does not look like a film. It looks like something that you should be watching on TV.
Right.
But it kind of won me over just because there are certain parts where it flows really well. Like I said, that original montage, it's just great film work. I mean, because we just see this guy in all these hotel rooms. We see him scouting out these players.
Yeah.
But we learn a lot about him and his struggles as a person. Even though it doesn't say, Stanley was down on his luck. He had to stay in all these hotel rooms and eat Chinese food and pizza. And they don't do that. It's really well made. And I like a lot of the editing choices. And to me, the way he shoots the basketball games, it's awesome. I mean, you compare this to like Teen Wolf. Obviously, Teen Wolf doesn't have the budget, but I mean, have you ever seen a movie where they can basically do a POV shot with like tracking the player like you're guarding this guy? I've never seen that before.
Right.
I think that was really cool. Very inventive stuff with the camera. Like the camera's always moving, and it's not in a bad way. It's not like shaky stuff. It enhances the viewing experience. And then, like I said, at the final game, I think that's him shining the most because he seems like a guy that loves basketball, and he wanted to show the beauty of this game. He showed you in the way that just whenever they show up there, it's a beautiful scene.
I think this movie, it reminded me a little bit of kind of like a Rocky film, like the first Rocky film, and it's it's sort of a docu-style even in that kind of thing, and you see the growth of both the basketball player and then of course of Sugarman and how he gets better, and of course he's not a bad guy from the beginning, but he's kind of been down on his luck kind of thing, and things just start to turn around for both of these guys when they meet each other, and I think the film does a really good job of progressing that, and just it's not in any sort of big blockbustery style production. It's very docu-style, and I think that works really, really well for this film.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the whole Rocky thing. I think that I'm sure if there's a commentary for this somewhere, I think the director probably was inspired by Rocky just because those training montages, I mean, they basically rip off Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 because like you have this one montage and they have a little break here where he has to get a speech done to him, and then he gets fired up for the rest of the second half montage. So it's really good, and it fires you up too because that music's going, and to me, I like how that part's shot too. Like I don't remember a movie where you see a guy pass and then it cuts and it's like him doing something else. Like it's very frenetic, but at the same time, it flows really well.
So talk about some of the big scenes we talked about just now, just talking about the direction and everything. But you talked about how the movie was shot with, POV shots and that sort of thing. But what for you are some of the bigger scenes or more impressive scenes or maybe just memorable scenes that really stuck with you in this film?
I've already mentioned a few of them. I think
Sure.
Obviously the beginning, it hooks me from the get-go. Definitely like all the basketball scenes where they're playing the big games. They're very intense. Training montage, like I mentioned. But to me, my favorite, there's two lesser scenes as far as like more dramatic type scenes that really stuck out to me. And that's the one where when Sugarman brings over Bo's family and he gets to have that moment with them, and it's really beautiful. And then
it was
at the end, right before, or basically Stanley's at his lowest. He's having to take Bo to the airport, and it seems like it's done at this. If you notice, like he starts watching Bo go up the escalator, but then he's out of the shot when Bo turns around. He's like, he's gone. He's out of there. He's like, can't even look at him anymore. He's just like, I've done bad. He's done bad. I don't know what's gonna happen in my life. And just seeing that moment, it really hits you, and because you feel bad for this guy. You feel bad for both of them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good mix of writing, acting, directing, all that stuff. Yep. It really works.
I agree with you. I could not get over how well this movie was acted by everybody. I mean, even the player and we talked about it earlier, how he wasn't necessarily the most polished actor, but I don't think that called for that in this film. I think it called for exactly who that guy is, and you needed somebody that you could believe, for the most part, that he is who he is or who he portrays in the film, and I think he pulled that off really well, and that also that he has this really interesting relationship with Sugarman, and that they bond, and it's just a really, really well made progression of time where you see these relationships go from here to here and go through a lot, and that's with the wife, with the kid, with the player, and all that, and it's just really impressive. Now, I talked to you before we started recording about critiques. Now, obviously, when you first watched this film, it took you out of it because you recognized the player and everything. But when you've watched this film a couple times since then, and so what are maybe one or two things that you see this film as a critique, if you can even call them that?
I guess one of them was kind of nitpicky, just because
sure
it's part of the appeal of the film, but I think they kind of go overboard with some of the cameos. Just like
yeah,
just drop in AI here. He's like, yeah, this is my guy, Bo Cruz, and it's like, Luca, oh, I see you, Bo Cruz. And it's just like, kind of went overboard. It's like, do we need all of these? And some of them are not great. And
right.
like, to me, at the end when Doc Rivers comes in, he's like, "Are you ready?" It's just some of them are kind of silly. So I think they went a little overboard with them. Like I said, that's kind of nitpicky because a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, let's look at that guy." And one of them actually had to look up. There's like a Lakers super fan in this. Like, do you remember the old guy with like the crazy looking clothes?
Yeah.
I was like, who the heck is that?
Yeah.
But apparently he's like a Lakers Clippers super fan that he just goes to all the games.
Yeah.
But didn't know that. But that's one of them. But to the other one is one I can't really put my finger on. And that's just kind of like, there is a part of the film where it seems like it's building up to something, and then it kind of stalls out a little bit. I want to say it's like maybe the film is like 5 to 10 minutes longer than it needs to be. There's just certain parts that seem like they drag a little bit. I'm not going to say it's the whole film, because I was just thinking when you were talking about the relationship between Bo and Stanley, I think it's a lot of those small scenes that they have together that kind of builds that up. That it's like you have these a lot of small, not as powerful scenes that add up to make those powerful scenes work. So I like that aspect of the film. But the pacing, I don't know, is just something about it. There's like 2 or 3 parts of the movie where I'm just like, yeah, I feel like fast forwarding a little bit. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most people wouldn't notice that or care about that because, like I said, it's a great story, very compelling characters, and that's probably what you want to find in a film.
Well, as we said, this movie has a lot of kind of a rocky feel to it, and and I don't think that's a bad thing for this film. I think this film does a good job of showing you a guy that's come from basically nothing. I mean, this guy's in Spain, and his family's pretty much dirt poor and that sort of thing, and so you immediately root for him. But I think you also immediately root for Sugarman. I think you immediately root for him and his relationship with his wife, his relationship with the kid. And while, the wife gets at him a couple times, I think they really portray a really true love kind of thing. And I thought that was really cool for them to do because, again, when you look at Adam Sandler and Queen Latifah, you don't necessarily think husband and wife, but I think that their performances and the writing really won me over with that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things that really surprised me about this film that I was not expecting. Of course, that's one of them. But this is just a really, really well-made film. And any final thoughts? Anything that we hadn't touched on yet that you wanted to talk about in relation to this film?
I'm just going to put a final statement out there is I think, like I was saying at the beginning, even if you're not a diehard NBA fan, you're going to like this movie if you like sports movies or if you just want to feel good, because we've all seen these stories. We know how it's going to end, and that's okay because it's okay. And I think what this movie does is it puts a spin on that formula. It changes it up a little bit.
Yep.
Like I said off air, I was saying he's get basically 2 redemption games. Normally it's like you have Rocky, he gets beaten the first time by Clubber Lang or something, and then he comes back for the revenge. But in this one, he gets 2 shots at it. That's a little different. And plus, sometimes it zigs and zags. You don't expect it to go to where it does. So even though it's a formula that we all familiar with the sports movie, I think this one does enough to make its own mark on it. It's not going to be forgettable, made for Disney based on true story sports movie or something like that.
Right. I completely agree with you. I was really impressed with this film. I was really happy with it. and I'm happy that you really enjoyed it. So we just really want to put this out there to go see this film. I believe it's still on Netflix. It is called Hustle, and it is not your typical Adam Sandler film. If you put this on and people are not expecting, Billy Madison or something like that, just let them know that this is definitely not one of those type films. It is a very emotional film. It does have some comedy and stuff like that, but it is a really good watch, and I think a lot of people, basketball fan or not, should definitely check out this film. I think you'll enjoy it, and we definitely did. So, coming up next on the SuperCaZt, we are going to switch complete gears and talk about a film that I just watched last night as we're recording this, and that is Last Night in Soho. I am so excited to talk about this film. Steve, I really appreciate you suggested this film to me, and man, I'm super excited to talk about this film in our next episode.
Me too. If you're not familiar with it, it's the latest movie by Edgar Wright, who known for Hot Fuzz,
Yep.
Baby Driver, all that good stuff. And this one, just a spoiler, he kind of gets out of his lanes a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
It throws some people off, but hopefully we can do it justice and talk about what we liked about it.
As we said, guys, our YouTube channel is blowing up. So please go and subscribe to it and turn on your notifications. Whenever we post our next episode on there, you'll be the first to know, and we'll be glad to, if you'll share it to your friends, tell everybody else, hey, we got this new show, it's called the SuperCaZt, we love it. I wish you guys to check it out. Go on our Twitter. Send us your comments. Did you like this film? Did you like Hustle? Did you enjoy it? What did you think of it? And what other sports movies would you like us to talk about in future episodes? Let us know. We would love to hear from you guys. And really enjoyed talking about this film. Looking forward to our next episode. So for my co-host, Steve Z, I am the Superfosh, and we'll see you guys next time on the SuperCaZt.